Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. About 2 years ago, I came across the YouTuber Dollightful and her amazing videos about an art form called doll customizing or doll repainting. From there, I found many more YouTubers who customize dolls as both a hobby and as a way of making money on websites such as Etsy. I instantly fell in love with the hobby and have since customized a few dolls of my own. I especially like doing it as a way to make one-of-a-kind gifts for my close friends and relatives. When I started my YouTube channel, I knew eventually I would join the other YouTubers and showcase my repaints for everyone to see, but I didn't know how to start. Then I went back to my favorite YouTuber Dollightful again and found her video on the materials and beginner's tips and figured, hey, why don't I do that? Now, here we are. This and the next couple of videos will be a rough beginner's guide to getting started with the hobby and the materials I like to use when repainting my dolls. Without further ado, let's get artistic and see what comes from my mind today. When it comes to doll customizing, there are three main elements to focus on: the face, the hair, and the clothes. But before we get started with the materials, let's talk about roughly the most important part of doll customizing: picking out your doll. There are tons of dolls to choose from when it comes to doll customizing. You can go as simple as figurines or as complicated as ball-jointed dolls. It really just depends on how much you want to spend. I personally like to use Monster High, Ever After High, Hair Doorables, and even the newer, more articulated Disney princess dolls. Since anime is a huge influence in my work, I like the big heads of Monster High and Ever After High dolls as well as their articulation. Unfortunately, if you're new to the hobby, you're going to notice a lack of high-quality dolls in stores. So I would suggest stocking up on dolls from eBay and secondhand stores. I have a sufficient stock box to choose from, so I suggest you start by getting a box of used dolls where you can. Now, time for the materials. Let's start with the essentials for the face. The first thing when customizing a doll is to remove the factory paint. For this, you will need acetone, Q-tips, and tissues. These are used to remove the factory paint to give you a clear canvas to work on. Next, you need to seal your doll so it's ready to customize. Mr. Superclear, abbreviated as MSC, is the best, if not only, sealant for doll customizing because it is from a company that designs products specifically for toy customizing and painting models. It's fairly toxic, so wear a mask and spray in a ventilated area like out a window. Now it's time to draw a new face. For this, we need watercolor pencils, soft pastels, and pencil sharpeners and erasers. Watercolor pencils are most important because the oils in regular colored pencils won't react with the sealant due to a chemical reaction. It will become sticky and ruin your doll. Soft pastels are used to make soft colors on your doll's face, such as blush and eyeshadow. I use Mungo soft pastels for their vibrant color. You can use a palette knife or an X-Acto knife to scrape the color onto a piece of paper and use a soft brush to pick up the color. You can also use this method to mix colors to make your perfect shade. It's important to keep your colored pencils sharp for fine detail work and precision. It's also nice to use a regular eraser for large mistakes and a kneaded eraser for fine-tuning and getting into those odd areas on the face, such as under the mouth, under the nose, and in between the eyes. If you feel like your watercolor pencils and soft pastels aren't getting you the look you want, you can also use acrylic paint. Same as watercolor pencils, water-based acrylic paints are good to use because they work well with the sealant and can add more opaque layers of color to your doll's face. Pearl-X powders are a micro glitter that sticks to about any surface and give off that extra sparkle you may want to add to your custom. These can be found at art stores such as Michael's and Hobby Lobby, or you can even get them online. Liquitex High Gloss Varnish is a gloss used to give life to the eyes and lips and give them a wet look. If you want to go the extra mile and bring your doll's face to life, give them some 3D eyelashes. Just use any false lashes for regular eyes and glue them on to the doll with fast-drying Elmer's Glue All or tacky glue. Last but certainly not least, If you want to make big modifications to your doll, like adding antlers or altering the body of your doll, the best thing to use is Epoxy Sculpt. On to the next element, the hair. Of course, you are more than welcome to keep your doll's original hair to make things easier. But if you want to give your doll new hair, you will need a few tools to remove the hair from the head. A good pair of thread scissors are incredibly useful for removing the hair. The scissors will also be useful when cutting and styling your doll's hair. Pliers and a good scraping tool, I use a cuticle pusher for example, is good to dig at the dry glue holding the hair inside the head. Once the original hair is gone, it's time to pick new hair. You can use two main methods to give your doll new hair. The first and least expensive is acrylic yarn. Acrylic yarn is a fun way to give your doll new hair because it comes in a variety of colors, and once prepared, will clump together for great poses. Acrylic yarn is the best to use because it can be straightened and heated without melting. The next method is synthetic doll hair. Websites like dollyhair.com and retrodollsuk are places you can find hanks of pre-made doll hairs in a variety of fun colors. After you decide what hair you want, you will need these tools. A rerooting tool. It is a needle with the eye cut at an angle with the handle from an X-Acto knife. You can also purchase a rerooting tool from the websites mentioned before, links in the description box down below. Fabri-Tac Glue. Fabri-Tac Glue is a washable permanent adhesive that is resistant to boil washing, so it makes a perfect glue to keep the hair in your doll's head. Now that you have the materials for your doll's face and hair, there's only one thing left: the clothes. Many dolls come with clothing, and if you stock up like me, you will have many pre-made outfits to choose from. But if you want some one-of-a-kind outfits for your custom, you will need a few things. Fabric. A little goes a long way when you're working on such a small scale. So I suggest you look at the discount fabric scraps at your local fabric store, or find some at secondhand stores like Salvation Army. You can also take from old clothes if you're not wearing them anymore. Patterns. You can make it up on the spot, but I find that a pattern is a good way to make higher quality outfits. You can take apart store-bought outfits to make patterns from, or you can purchase really good patterns on websites like Etsy. I will link a popular seller in the description box. Make sure to save all your patterns in Ziploc bags so you don't lose any of the pieces. I also use a sewing machine to make most of my outfits, but if you're low on funds, hand sewing works just fine. Just make sure you have enough needles and thread. And that's it! I hope you found this video useful and made you excited to grab a doll and start customizing one of your own. In my next video, I will be showing you how I made a doll version of myself. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions of future videos you want to see, leave them in the comments below. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!